The universe is God's ejaculation. This is something that I wrote just a couple days ago. I haven't read it yet, at least not today, not recently. I wrote it down, and then I never read it again. Well, perhaps I read it right after I wrote it, but we're gonna explore this. We're gonna explore what I wrote today. So let's get into it. I might pause along the way if I feel like it's apt to do so, or I may not. But let's begin. The universe is God's ejaculation. What if the universe is God's ejaculation? What if God is what we will become? What if we used to be the universe? These are the mind-warping ideas I received after a conversation with my roommate, my landlord, actually. In the conversation, we talked about how everything is language. We talked about the origin and purpose of existing being the universe's wish to experience itself. How elegant. We talked about how without a driving force such as this, there would be no movement. Thus, there would be no energy. Thus, there would be no experience. This is where it gets deep. Since experience comes from energy, E equals mc squared. I was just watching a video on that today. Energy is vibration. Energy is complexity. Energy is language. We talked about language and energy exchange's ability to create emergent phenomena. And I want to make a whole video. I got a whole video planned on words like emergent, concepts like emergence, and other things. I don't want to spoil it. But if you don't know what emergence is, don't worry. We're going to talk about it. We talked about the existence of life on Earth being a cluster of flowers in an otherwise barren field. This is sort of speaking to this idea that most of the universe is like this barren wasteland or the barren field, kind of like a field, like a golden field where most things are dead, but then there's this one shoot of beautiful, colorful, majestic flowers. This one sign of conscious beauty in an otherwise barren wasteland. And that humans are kind of like the flower of the world, or the world is the flower of the solar system, of maybe the galaxy. I don't know. Are there other life forms in our galaxy? Are there other life forms even right here in our neighborhood, in our solar system? I have a theory that existence is eternal. Not only that, existence goes through cycles of growth in consciousness. The more complexity unifying through energy exchange or language. the higher the potential for growth in consciousness and birth of emergent properties and novel phenomena. This is talking about syntropy. It's another one of those words for you. At the origins of life on Earth, the complexity unifying wasn't all that complex. Moreover, it wasn't even conscious. That's debatable, but I'd say a lot of scientists would agree with me so far. So this is unifying of complexity, or my bad. So this unifying of complexity was merely happening by chance, or in other words, extremely complex cause and effect. Think about that. That means it takes a long time for something to happen, or a spark to emerge. But once this spark occurs, spark being consciousness, I presume, consciousness emerges, there we go, or at least reaches the next echelon. And there I'm referencing, maybe it was already conscious, but just on a level that we don't understand or recognize. And the process can become more intentional and thus quicker. Thus, we evolve at a faster and faster rate. Eventually, there is so much complexity and so much unification that we become God and ejaculate in an orgasm of self that restarts the cycle of life all over again. Maybe, maybe not. Who's to say? This ejaculation would create the initial conditions for the cycle of the next universe. The creator, God, would be destroyed in the process of creation. It is both a moment of total creation and total annihilation. But it would be the most benevolent annihilation imaginable. Then I later went on to say, we also talked about how our brains constantly make assumptions, beliefs, but how those assumptions or narratives have no bearing on objective reality. And then I go on to say, I just had a new thought that this ejaculation of gods wouldn't annihilate the god. Perhaps God could continue to ejaculate and create more and more universes, all the while living and contemplating things that we can't possibly understand. God would be living in an echelon of consciousness that is infinitely unfathomable to us. Perhaps God could experience every single aspect of his creations from every perspective. From every possibility. Meanwhile, God would be experiencing and experimenting with realities and consciousness that we cannot even comprehend. God could experience the fourth dimension, the fifth dimension, the infinite dimension. Not only that, God would have infinite control of these dimensions. And is this where the word omnipotent comes from? I believe so. And that's a word I was just thinking about an hour and a half ago. Coincidence? God could also socialize with other gods that came from different origins of reality. A concept I was grappling with is, with great power comes great responsibility. As we level up our consciousness, we mustn't handle our new realities, our new abilities. Let me rephrase that. Let me actually correct that. As we level up our consciousness, we must handle our new abilities appropriately, or else destroy ourselves. And that's all I wrote at that time period, whatever that means. More to come. I will see you next time. Or will you only see me? All right. Blessings. Peace.